when I see you coming in their arms, you'll fall into them. Never happened, true love. Whatever happened, Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music and all that stuff, and this is my crazy video journal. Just got done playing a gig last night with Kelly Cheese at Bar 3 on keyboard. Randomly, I play keyboard and sing with those guys. There's some videos somewhere on Munson covers of us playing at different places. Always a lot of fun to play with those guys. But my Aunt Eva James passed away this week, so we had the funeral this morning and kind of went up to the church. And my Aunt Sis had passed away, actually, her sister, not too long ago, just a couple months ago. So that's always weird when we have people of a certain generation kind of go out at the same time. But had a wonderful honeymoon with my wonderful wife, Kira Berry. Life is good. Some people move out of your life, and some other people move into your life, and life goes on and on and on and on. And wow, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to talk about. Actually, I'm waiting on my jazz guys to get here. Waiting on Lucian and Josh to kind of show up. We played the Vineyard last Saturday for the Harvest Festival. That was fun. That's always good, doing the solo guitar, doing the jazz stuff. Always like kind of cranking out some of those tunes. I keep on pondering doing more lessons on more jazz oriented kind of stuff, but it always seems like people have, the request list is long enough as it is, and I kind of bulked up Munson jam tracks with a lot of jam tracks 2 weeks ago. Kind of my goal was to get that channel with just some more stuff, and then Munson covers was kind of the goal for myself this week. I guess they're still my channels. I get to decide what I'm gonna do. So that was good. Actually, trying to turn some people on into subscribing to Munson covers. Where I just kind of play the song, and hopefully you know the chords and you can follow what I'm doing. And then we don't even really need a lesson. We can just kind of play that song together. Actually, that's always kind of a fun thing to do. So there's lots of those. Actually, there's a whole stack of requested covers, and wow. And then there's a list of lots of tutorials. So I've got tons of work to do, and I plan on getting it done, and knocked out some requests today, actually. And I continue to mispronounce artist names online, which is great, because that just kind of happens that way. Sorry, y'all, I don't watch TV. Normally, I kind of watch movies with the kids at home, and I don't know, sometimes I'm just not up to date on how you pronounce particular artist names. I just see them on the billboards, and I think of what it might sound like, and sometimes I just jump into it in the lesson without really thinking, oh crap, I don't know how to pronounce this person's name. Which is always weird. It's not that weird. Yeah, it just kind of happens. It's just the ignorance thing. It's not necessarily I'm stupid. So it could be worse, right? Yeah. But anyway, just lots of fun here in the shop, waiting on the jazz guys to show up. Figured I'd shoot a little home movie here, and there's so many wonderful people in my life. I need to just go out and just shoot stuff to put on Munson home movies, because that would be a lot of fun. Had some really interesting theory requests for lessons too, like a bar chord lesson, and I shot something a long time ago, like kind of left hand tips, kind of a requested video, and the funny thing about it was I shot the entire video and got all my thoughts and about left hand technique, about chord shifting, drones, working, guide fingers, gotta mention that, trying to work your thumb and your neck position for how you're gonna get a really clear sound out of F, switch strings to lighter strings, that kind of thing. And then I realized at the end I could have done a lot more close-ups of the left hand. You're still in that same spot across the room trying to go, wow, what's he doing with his hand? So actually that would be a good thing to kind of revisit. Actually, it was kind of a left hand tips lesson. I may do some some of that too. But then Christmas is coming, 2 months off. Actually, I had a student in the shop today, and I've gotten a couple comments on Christmas lessons recently that I did last year, and I really want to bulk up the Munson covers with a whole bunch of Christmas cover songs on secondary instruments, because I think that would be really, really cool. And I really want to fill up those playlists too. I want to get those playlists. Oh, that would be a great goal to be able to do it. Get all those playlists to 200 views or 200 videos by the end of the year. That'd be a lot of work. But I don't know how many Christmas tunes I'll end up doing. Since last year I just was cranking them out. So we'll see what happens there. I guess it might depend on how many private students I have running through the shop, or how early I wake up in the morning, as to how many videos I'll get done. But I know this week in particular, actually, I need to go back to just the request list for some of the tutorials first of the week, and maybe do some covers. And then there's always Billboard Thursday, when it's like, oh, what's the new tunes on the radio? Let's go pick those out really quick, and then get back to requests. So that's my flow. That's what I do. Really appreciate all the love on YouTube, and I made a little video, and I got a couple people to watch it. I think it has 2 views on this channel. It has more views on the main channel. So that's cool. It's always nice when people kind of watch, and kind of listen and go, oh, what's going on in this guy's life? It's interesting, because you got people from all around the world, and it's always cool for me to sometimes you get comments about things, and then this whole channel actually started being the vlog from a comment like that, where yeah, that kind of thing. But I was thinking about Walter too, my Uncle Walter, and some comment on Facebook or something. He used to play every song with 2 chords. That's an interesting way to interpret anything. He used to love D major 7, and then somehow, I don't even know why, he gravitated to G major 7. And his timing was always weird, so that was always fun, kind of trying to follow Walter. Shadows of the moonlight, lonely people having fun. That kind of thing where he would just ambiently play like just 2 chords. I also knew a guy in Columbia, Hickory Hawkins. Wow, Hickory Hawkins was a country artist in Columbia when I lived in Columbia. He would play everything in G. So every freaking song that he ever wrote was all G and C and D, and that's it. It's almost like I lost my chord book, and these are the only 3 that I can remember. So I'm gonna write stuff that way. So I don't know. I always wish that you just bought a capo. I could deal with the key of G all night, just as long as you're moving around. So it sounds like the key of A flat or B or C or something else. But it's always an interesting thing, actually, given the requests actually that I get. I think to kind of try and find some easy ways and kind of present some other options. I'm not sure if my lessons are really. I try and make the lesson easy. I can't make the song easy necessarily. Because if I hear a lick, I like to present it in some fashion, even if it's just an abbreviated, easier version of some lick. But hopefully, if you get enough vocabulary, I think on the guitar, you can just start saying stuff with it, kind of making up stuff. And I guess that's my end goal. And maybe that's a little, I don't know. It is what it is. That's kind of my end goal. I think music is a language, is what I honestly believe, and I believe lots of people can talk without having to read, although I think reading is a very valuable resource, and being able to write is also a valuable resource. But understanding basic rhythms and chords, actually, I think is mostly what I teach, aside from a lot of melodic stuff, or specific requests for something different than that. But here, regardless, I don't know. Somebody else requested a silly tricks, like, oh, you can make capos out of rubber bands and pins, and yeah, absolutely, definitely done that in my time on the guitar back in my folkier days when I didn't have any money and I was a dirty hippie in college, and makes me also remember about tying off strings. If they break like above the nut, actually, and you hold on to that little end that you cut off to give your guitar a haircut after you put your guitar strings on. Sometimes they break in exactly the right place to like take the long end and one of those little ends and then tie it off and stick it up on the headstock. That can be a very cool trick too. So I've got to think about some more. Like if I could end up with like 5 or 10 or maybe 5 dumb Munson tricks, you know, on the guitar. Maybe I'll shoot a lesson for that. We're gonna miss EJ. I'm gonna miss EJ a lot. I loved EJ. EJ, my great aunt EJ was 95 years old, and we used to always play Christmas carols or sing Christmas carols. She was just God. That's my most vivid memory of her recently. Is all her encouragement to play the pump organ one year at Christmas time, and then sitting right next to me and playing or singing right along with all these Christmas carols that we were doing. And she couldn't see very well, but she knew who I was, you know, and I was kind of named after her father in a way. So that was very cool. That was very cool, and I'm gonna miss her and sis both. Actually, that's just the way it is, I guess. But you know, it's so hard to. I don't know, sometimes you just. Life is so good right now, and I just want to hold on to it forever, and you can't do that. You just have to appreciate every moment you have with everybody. I always get real sentimental with these videos, you know. I'm always like, oh man, life is great. I miss all these people that are gone. And it's true. That's just kind of the way it is. You know, we were out there at the cemetery, and I'm sitting there looking at my great grandfather and my grandfather's tombstones, and think about how little time you actually have on this earth, and how it's always nice to not be an asshole to everybody, you know, and try and see that little piece of divinity in everybody, you know, even if you feel like, man, I could be doing that instead, or man, I've really got to make it to here, or whatever. Sometimes you don't know if the first time you meet somebody might be the last time you ever see somebody, and so it's, you know, you just want to make the world a brighter place, I guess, and I think playing music and kind of helps you have some of that insight. Actually, you know, it's one of those strange skills, playing music, where you have to have physical skills, you gotta have some mental skills, you know, to learn these chords and scales and melodies and licks, and then you got to put it together. And if you're playing it out, you got to really kind of feel it inside, you know, and kind of pull that inner spirit out, kind of really put your heart into it. And it's one of those skills that's really multitasking. You really kind of meet it on physical, mental, and spiritual needs, which is where my crazy practical guide to the guitar book kind of came from, you know. Even though that's more of a, hey man, if Confucius wrote a guitar book, it would be this, because it's more pictures and ideas than it is a text. Here's how to play a guitar book. It's just not like that. There's just too much information to really. I don't know, it's just kind of presenting some different ideas, and especially if you got visual systems. If you watch through that video, actually, I think you could probably discern a lot of stuff out of that book somehow. I always end up on one random page in that book, and then I'll practice for like 7 hours, whatever idea it happens to be. And so I think that's really practical, is not meaning, hey man, this is easy. Practical, the basic practice is the root of practical. And so it's really like just a book with like strange pages of ideas that you could practice, whether it be right hand stuff, you know, or left hand stuff, or the chromatic scale, you have F sharp G, G sharp A, sharp B, C, C sharp D, you know, kind of ideas to mess around with. That can always be cool. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of touch base. I hadn't made a video since my wonderful honeymoon at Lake Becky. Wow, we had Caleb's birthday party a couple weeks back. He had a creeper pinata, which was very cool. So they got to beat up on it with this Minecraft sword, and it was awesome. So we had a grand time with his friends and playing Minecraft, and some of his friends are my students, and that's always cool. So we had a good time. And then Bonnie had this wonderful experience at the zoo at Riverbank Zoo this week. She dressed up, she's 6 years old, and she dressed up as Elsa from Frozen, you know. And so there were 1 in 3 children, according to my wife Kira, were dressed up like Elsa from Frozen. And so all of a sudden the DJ goes, "This goes out to all the Elsas out there," and he cranks up "Let It Go." All those kids, if you can imagine, you know, hundreds of little Ilsas, you know, snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen, you know, and it was just like she was like, "Oh, this is great! All these little girls, you know, I'm free. You know, no rules are gonna bind me." It was like so empowering, and I could see that like, oh, I really wished I'd been there. Of course, we had game night instead, because on Wednesday nights I break the grind of the 40+ hour week of making videos and teaching private lessons and making enough money to live and try and pay back all the people that love me enough to let me borrow money, and randomly play Dungeons and Dragons, because I'm really a geek at heart and I love rolling dice. And my character a couple weeks ago actually got turned into a demon. It was a terrible thing. Thomas is dungeon mastering, and it got to a point, and he had forewarned me, and I ended up in a place, and I really wanted to help the rest of the party, and I was like, I succumb to the darkness out of love for my friends and try and break away through the door. And he was like, say what? And I was like, I succumb to the darkness, and da-da-da. He was like, you lose your character. Hand it over. So it was great. It was awesome. I love accountability, and Thomas reminds me so much of Walter sometimes. Because, man, he's just got, oh, man, I was sitting tall with Thomas for hours. He's kind of like Walter like that. Dear Uncle Walter's going on and on about everything he's seen and done. The voice of 50 is experience. Yeah, that's great. I love my Uncle Walter. Miss my Uncle Walter. But he'll show up. Buffy had a dream about Walter last night, randomly, that he was he was a waiter somewhere and helping out, flirting with the women. That's Walter. God, I love Walter. But I love all my family too, and I love all my friends and everything, and it's so easy to get caught up in all this seriousness from day to day, and to remind myself to be less serious and slightly more Buddhist. But Josh is going to show up eventually, I'm sure, and we've been doing some Wing Chun, and that seems to be very, very good for my soul and my body, I guess, you know, kind of working some martial arts stuff. I really want a wooden dummy so bad. So, yeah, so maybe I'll get one of those for Christmas if you guys watch enough videos. I can practice my Wing Chun on the porch with my wooden dummy. But anyway, that's all good. But in the meantime, I'll keep on trying to pick out all these tunes that you guys love and try and put up some videos for you, and I might take a detour through some other covers, but I hope somebody's asking for a song that you wanted to see too but didn't ask for, and vice versa, or I'm throwing up a cover of a song that you were like, oh, I never knew that song was that easy. So even if I don't do your specific thing immediately, I hope that you have some patience and find some stuff that will help you learn the guitar and have some fun with whatever instrument you're playing, actually, somewhere on these channels, these Munson channels. I'm in Munson. But anyway, so best of luck. Just wanted to throw up something, kind of give you guys an update if you're interested, and best of luck to you guys. I love you guys out there in YouTube land. I love you, and so anyway, we'll talk to you later. All right, bye.